Good morning, Stephen.
Hello,
we begin with India. A lot at stake for the economy, which is one of the big issues, in fact, in this election.
Exactly. I mean, the economy is central to many elections. No change there in India. India, of course, one of the world's foremost emerging economies. It's part of that BRICS group that we've heard so much about. We've seen their economic growth over the past decade skyrocket. It was over 10% back in 2010, but things haven't been going quite so well recently in the current financial year. That's expected to dip to under 5%, creating a lot of worry around the future of India's economy. Its currency too badly hit in that flight from emerging markets that we saw last year. The rupee fell dramatically against the dollar last August. It's managed to rebound, though, in recent weeks, hitting 8-month highs last week in trading. Part of that is down to investor confidence that the opposition Janata Party, led by Narendra Modi, will do particularly well in this election, set to come out very well, in fact, according to some polls. His pro-business stance giving investors confidence that there will be some of those badly needed reforms passed in the Indian economy, things like reducing bureaucracy from businesses and increasing the tax take for the government. That's helped the markets too. As you can see, this is the key Indian index, the Mumbai Sensex. It's risen pretty significantly, as you can see, over the past month there. That's the closing price on Friday that you can see. There's been huge inflows of capital into the country in the last month alone, over $2.5 billion, in fact, in the last month. So lots of optimism around for this election.
That then, Stephen, for the last month, what's happening on those Indian markets today?
Well, things had started in the red in Mumbai, but they've turned into positive territory in the past couple of hours. Investors, I suppose, a little bit unsure because these polls that we're relying on have proven to be unreliable in the past. Back in 2004, exit polls wrongly predicted the BJP party was going to win the election, and that led to the Sensex falling some 11%. So investors quite cautious about what's happening there. Quick look now at what's happening on the rest of the Asian markets, though not quite such a positive day. The Nikkei in Japan down almost 1.5%, driven by a fall in technology stocks. They weren't doing too well on Wall Street on Friday. Hitachi and Panasonic, two of the big fallers there in Japan.
Now to another of our headlines this morning, Stephen. Ukraine. It is involved, of course, in this dispute with Russia over its unpaid gas bills. That comes to a head today.
Yes, and the final demand, as it were, on that gas bill coming today from the Russian state-owned Gazprom. They say that Ukraine owes them $2.2 billion, and that is due for payment this Monday. Now, Ukraine says it will pay the bill, but over the weekend, the Ukrainian Prime Minister accused Russia of economic aggression with its latest price increase, over 80% increase in the cost of gas to Ukraine. Arseniy Yatsenyuk says that Moscow is trying to punish the country's new leadership and they won't accept the new price. Plenty more, I'm sure we'll be hearing about that over the coming hours.
Now, over the weekend, Stephen, there's been a big deal agreed in the telecom sector here in France.
Yeah, that's right. It's been the saga of the corporate sector in recent months. The WHO was going to buy France's second biggest mobile operator, SFR. The answer, the parent company of cable firm Numericable, Altus. It's a deal worth 17 billion euros. It's a massive upheaval for the telecom sector here in France, as it saw SFR's parent company reject a bid from rival mobile operator Bouygues, despite the backing of the French government. Siobhan Silk has the story.
It was a hard-fought victory. After a month-long tug-of-war with Bouygues Telecom, French cable operator Numericable won the battle to buy SFR, France's second-largest phone network. Seller Vivendi said the offer from Numericable's parent company Altice was the one most likely to bring growth and was best for clients, employees and shareholders. The deal values SFR at 17 billion euros. Numericable will be taking on 11.6 billion euros in debt.
It's not too expensive. It's never too expensive from a strategic point of view. The question about this merged business is about the level of debt. Will the level of debt allow them to continue to invest in cable infrastructure?
It's a stinging defeat for Bouygues. The number 3 mobile operator made repeated attempts to buy SFR. Vivendi rejected 4 different offers. A successful bid would have created the country's largest mobile carrier and reduced the number of operators to 3. It was the deal preferred by France's industry minister Arnaud Montebourg. He's vowed to carefully watch Numericable to ensure it sticks to a promise to make no job cuts at SFR for 3 years. That's not yet in writing.
If they're sincere in their promise, they should have no problem signing a commitment to that effect. For the moment, they haven't done that, even though we made a proposal to them 2 weeks ago.
The deal isn't yet completely done. Competition authorities must sign off, a process that could take several months.
And finally, will we move on to that? Another car recall in the United States, but this time for an unusual reason.
Yeah, Mazda's been forced for the second time in 3 years to recall tens of thousands of cars in the United States because of a spider that likes the smell of petrol and has been crawling into the petrol tank of the Mazda 6 saloon cars. Mazda had tried to fix this problem the last time that it emerged back in 2011 by installing a spring in the tank, but the wily yellow sac spider has managed to get in again. It's causing all sorts of problems for the engines of those cars. 42,000 cars affected this time by the recall. Maybe second time round they'll get it right, manage to get the spider out.
Get the dreaded spider out. Thank you very much indeed, Stephen Carroll. A look there at spiders and cars and all the rest of the morning's business news. It's 22 minutes past 7. We're going to have a look at what's making headlines in the French